Well, here it is, August 5th. Boy, how time flies. Just a month ago, July 5th, we were up here doing what we were performing was disking up for a sterile field. And I want to show you the results of that real quick. For the most part, we were real clean. And here was some that survived. We apparently didn't get the disc on there, but that was the growth. You can see these weeds. So we got very little weed residue. We're going to turn this area in here. We're going to go with our beets and greens. We may take a couple rows of these beans out, but I'm going to have to make that call, and I'm going to have to make it real quick here. These beans are surprisingly back here where they've been browsed on are sort of holding their own. They are flowering. This area in here, I may plant forage oats in here in between these rows. These aren't going to make beans the 5th of August, and they've just been browsed on too heavily. I might even hate to take them out if they're still being browsed on, because then the browsing will just take effect elsewhere on the field. But like I said, those are only 10 inches tall, and they served their purpose. So we're going to mow that corn right there that's been devastated by deer or coon, whatever, and hopefully, because it's not nothing there, and we can put a fall annual in it, so let's mow it. Yeah, what we're doing up here is we're mowing up the corn. So we took another row out so we can make it a little wider. Now we're going to mow that residue up. Yeah, see, we have that corn residue from the stalks, and we'll have to drag that off. We mowed it up as much as we could, but you can't plant seed to that because it's so thick. Seed would never get to the ground. And what we did, we just basically made this row, took one more row off, and made this a little wider. And we've got the corn down up here, and this was what would have been left. So we had to drag that off and grind it up. So that's what we were doing there. We had one heck of a corn crop this year. Look at the corn in there. And you notice for each stalk of corn, there's one cob per stalk. And that's normal. Sometimes you'll get two, but a lot of people want to know, you know, one of those stalks will grow one ear of corn. So that's basically the standard Now, like I say, every once in a while you'll get a couple, but that really reached down into that subsoil moisture and really did an excellent job of pollinating the whole 9 yards. We're going to mow some of these beans off, get the residue off. There's no kidding yourself. They're not going to make beans. They're no taller than that. It's August 5th. And if I come in here with beets and greens on this area, I'll get a far better late winter crop. So we have to sacrifice and make a thing. That's going to happen to you. And if that happens to you, reload, reseed. And so these beans serve their purpose. They gave a lot of does nursing and bucks growing antlers, high protein, but like I say, they've been browsed over, so there's really no value in my mind to them. So I'm taking them out and planting would be the beets and greens in this area. As you can see, it's quite dry again here in southern Iowa. But remember last year it was drier than this, and we still did good. Seed's not going to grow in the van, not going to grow in the back of a pickup. It has to get in the ground. You have to throw the dice and hope you get rain. Because like I said, rain makes grain, but if it's sitting idle. Now, my backup plan with that said is I got plenty of forage oats that I could go in later if I have to and reseed with those if the moisture doesn't arrive at an adequate time. So you always want to have a backup plan. I got 1.5 acres of forage oat seed to reseed things if they don't grow. And you better have a backup plan because there's no guarantees in food quality. Now we're going to run the pulverizer over and take a little bit of that mowed residue off, mix up that dirt, because where that was, it wasn't tilled, so we need to loosen it up a little bit. It's really dusty, so let's get that going. Yeah, I'd like to show you the mechanics of this pulverizer, what it's all about. You notice it has rows of teeth underneath of that. And those rows are staggered from the front. There's the front rows, and don't get underneath of it while you got it running. But there's the teeth under there, and there's teeth back there. And they're staggered, so they really dig into the soil, and they will pull any residue off with it. Now on the back you have a series of rollers which act as they firm the soil up and they spin. They're not mechanically, they run off the gravity, and if you want it light you can set it to where just this roller rolls and keep that one up out of the ground. Just to go over with it. Now like I said, this pulverizer, if you take care of your equipment, I bought this brand new in 1977. So, you know, for you guys that tout poor man's this and poor man's that, kiss my ass. Because all you're talking about is lazy man. You're driving a pickup that's far more valuable than my tractor. Probably riding a Harley Davidson, a side-by-side. you just don't want to invest it into the food plots. And I find that so true in the workforce today. They just want to do everything on the cobbled up side. So anyway, that's the facts on that pulverizer. It works really well for a finished tool, and that's what it's meant for seed preparation, and it does real good. So if you can find one, you can still buy parts for them. I can buy any part for that at my local dealer, and so it's an investment, not an expenditure. Oh, by the way, it's supposed to get 97 here today, so I better get it rocking and I better get it rolling. There's a field tilled up for beets and greens, weed-free, gleaned up. Let's move over here. I want to take you over here and show you this corn. Now, I showed you the norm of corn. 1 cob per stalk. And here is what you have sometimes where people want a good argument. This is where the sun got to this, and you actually have 2 cobs of corn per stalk. And that'll run, here's another one in there, right on the end rows. All these are end rows. They're getting, as you can see, this intense sun is already on them. So we got fertile soil and the capacity to grow more than one, but all you have to do is, out here on the outside rows, you got 2 cobs of corn. You can see this real good. One stalk, 1, 2. And it's really, there's another one, 1, 2. All you have to do is walk in, get in the shade, and now you're back down to 1 cob per stalk. Now what we got to do is we got to go in there and glean that, till that field up right there where we pull that corn out. So we'll have to get, well, we pull those stalks out and get that residue out of there so we can get seed to soil contact. Yeah, breakdowns are going to happen. Pin come out. Luckily, I got a pin that'll go in there. Hank Williams Jr. sang, "Country boys can't survive. You got to man up and figure out what you're going to do ASAP." There ain't no app on those smartphones to figure out what you're going to do there. So luckily, I had an extra lynch pin and an electric pin on board in the toolbox that keeps you running. Like I said, dirt face and all, country boys can survive. Remember when we took that mulberry tree out back in March? Now you can see the benefit of that. We opened this ground all up, this whole area in here where that tractor's at, a good 20 by 20 area, maybe even 30 by 30. It's tillable now without that lone tree. But you got to plan ahead. That was back in March. Here it is, August 5th. Time to plant without the tree in the way. Well, it's time to put the fertilizer on. Putting the triple 13 on. We'll put it with the spreader. We got a lot more acres to cover than to push it. Now you can see on a hot day why you'd want to put it on with the spreader. It goes a lot faster instead of having to push that through there. So we'll go do the rest of the field. Now what we're going to do, we got it on. We're going to crank the seed on, several different kinds of seeds in different areas. And then we'll run the color packer over it to set it. Yeah, as loose as this dirt is, I'm just going to run the colopactor over that fertilizer and put it in the ground a little bit, just ever with the colopactor teeth will put it in there so it's not laying exactly on the same level as the seed. So we'll run the colopactor over this area and it won't take long, and then we'll get the seed cranked on. Now you can see what we're doing here. You can see that white fertilizer laying the fertilizer on top of the ground where we haven't colopacted it. It's laying on top. And when you come over here behind the colopactor, you can see dirt has been thrown on top of it. It's not just laying there. It's incorporated somewhat into the ground. These colopactors are real simple tools. These used to be horse-drawn, and all they are is some heavyweight wheels. This one had some spikes on it. This one had the ridge on it. And they're real heavy. So the weight of it works. This will smash up clods and it gives you a uniform seed base. Not rocket science there, but they've been around for years. And for you guys that want one, they're at farm auctions. You can pick them up pretty reasonable. That one's the one I converted into a 3-point hit. Used to be a tongue-driven one. It's 11:37, so it's almost noon, and that has no sun in there yet. That's why we're going to go with secret spot in there this year, because of the lack of sun. It won't get any sun until late afternoon. Now, in front of those trees, we're going to go with the wintergreen product, which will really do good out here because it'll get a good length of sun. But when you have areas like that, you can't expect the same germination from the same seed. So I've switched things up this year and try to alleviate that problem of getting minimal growth back in there. And that's what the secret spot's good for. It only needs like 3 to 4 hours of daylight or sunlight. It will work with a minimum of 4 hours of sunlight per day. So as you can see, that's being tested. And as the days get shorter, the sunlight will get shorter. So let's crank that on. Just in this area, on the side of this tree. Okay, we got that cranked on. Don't take a whole lot. There's still quite a bit in this bag, but we're going to do that where the shade is. So I don't really care about the name. I basically care about how it's conducive to less sunlight. So we're going to spread out here, move over here, and we're going to plant this in fall annual of wintergreens. And so we'll get to spreading them on. Beans, we got a strong southwest wind. We're going to start up by the corn, so the seed would have a tendency to blow away from the corn instead of in it, and it'll help broadcast it. So anyhow, that's my theory. So we'll go over here and start broadcasting wintergreens. We're going in this area with that beets and greens. We had excellent luck with that last year. So we're going to plant this area in here with it. It plants up to a ½ acre, 3 pounds. So we're going to go until we run out and then call that good. So this area in here will be planted at beets and greens. So that'll be the 3rd annual that we have on the smorgasbord. And the more variety you have of different forages, the more attractive you're going to have for different wildlife, because might not all show up at the same time, and different animals will be benefiting from your labor and your monetary cost. So I'll get to cranking that seed on. Yeah, and keep in mind, just because I plant food plots, I can hunt without them. I hunted for years without them. This is sort of my hobby, and I enjoy growing things, seeing my successes right along with my failures. But sometimes I'm beginning to wonder if it's worth it all, because I've hunted for years without food plots or over food plots, and I've killed my share of good deer. So it's not about killing here. If you're looking for killing, you're on the wrong channel. Yeah, we moved up to this area here. In here in these real secluded areas around the corn where we made these little holes, I'm going to go in there with the beets and greens. Okay, for the final seed, we're going to seed this area in here with the winter greens. So I'll walk up through there. I got an ace in the hole. And you always got to have an ace in the hole. I got enough forage oats to cover this if something goes awry and something doesn't germinate. But it's really essential. Don't go with just one blend. Go with several different blends in several different areas. So if one goes south on you, you got another area that is still doing good. And you can always go in, you can go late, real late with forage oats and still get an attractive stand. So that's it. Is this heaven or hell? Well, this is Iowa, and today it's hell. Final step, going slow, just pressing that seat on. Dry enough, all it's going to do is just press it on. That ought to be the last step. Okay, I don't want to go too fast and throw dirt over it, so just go lightly. Well, it's dusty out. It's just about like what last year was. If you remember right, we planted this on the 7th last year, and it was similar conditions. So, seeds in the ground. All we can do now is wait on Mother Nature to throw the other wild card down. Hopefully it's rain. Yeah, it's hot. Well, I hope you enjoyed that video, and I hope you learned something. You've seen two different ways of eradicating the weeds before you plant. We double disced the one area, killed the weeds off, planted into pretty much, well, weed-free, Roundup-free soil. And the other area, we did go with the Roundup product and burnt the weeds off, and you've seen how it tilled up. So I hope you can draw some substance or some knowledge from both of those situations. So I'm getting out of here. That's it.